to live number 39. Just turning our stuff on here, live chat. Here we go. Let me know if you guys can hear us. We've got small crew today. I'm here, Chad's here, Russell is in Tucson, and Ward is in Thailand, I think. So comment down below or comment from Tasmania, Australia. Crazy. Crazy. Comment from Tasmania, Australia. Just hold on a sec. Crazy. Howdy, Kyle. Who else do we got there? Loud and clear? Perfect. That's what we need. Awesome. Well, welcome to number 39. We have 3 weekends to Tucson. So countdown's on. We got to finish the F100. There's a lot of work to do on the F100. Chad made a comment when he got here that I haven't made it any further than the video that went out today. Well, that's because the video that went out today, I just recorded yesterday. So we're like 100% caught up in videos, which isn't fun, but we've made a lot of progress today, and we'll probably get this F100 done hopefully in the next week is the plan. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we have this big, massive engine beside me. If you're on Facebook, I don't think I posted anything on YouTube, but if you're on Facebook, this is a Moki 250. And over there is a Corsair. And this came from my late friend Kelly and his sons, Klaus and Patrick. So this came back with me when I was in Montana last weekend, or the weekend before that. Before that? Yeah. Last weekend we were in Miami. So yeah, so really excited for this. So this is mine. It's unpainted. I'll show you guys that stuff. So it's going to be a very cool project, and I'm very excited and honored to be able to finish this for Kelly and his sons. So thank you guys for that. If you guys are watching, usually Klaus is on here. I can't see the screen from here, so. Anyways, that is where things are at. So we're progressing on the F100. We've got the Moki sitting here, the Corsair's there. We also have this cool power unit. This is a standalone video for this power unit and solar panel that's behind me. So that's actually Wednesday's video, which just got uploaded today. Pretty cool stuff. I'm excited to share that with you guys and have some interesting plans for this. It's all RC related, so charging batteries and running my trailer and things like that. So what else? Oh, Picaro, we talked, I think last live, we talked about the Picaro 2.0. So that is currently in Canada, and it should be here maybe Tuesday, fingers crossed. We do have all of our gear and stuff for that, so we'll take a look at that tonight. The Picaro, yeah, is here. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to finish the Picaro or not before Tucson Jets. We'll see. It'd be nice to finish it, but really doesn't matter. We've got so many planes to bring down with us and Maiden and Fly. So if the Picaro doesn't come down, it's not the end of the world because we already have 4 over there that I want to bring. So no issues at all. So, but excited for the Picaro as well. And I think that is it. Anything else you can think of, Chad?
Not offhand.
Awesome. F15, kind of wanted to start the F15 mid-February. Obviously, we're behind schedule. That happens. We escaped to Miami last weekend for 4 days, and it was amazing because it was so dang cold here. It was minus 30 Celsius-ish, give or take a lot. It was cold.
Thursday morning, it was minus 32.
Yeah, so
ambient.
We left Thursday morning. It was minus 2. You've got your mic on, so you guys can hear Chad. So minus 32. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's really cold. And we got on the plane, flew to Miami, and in Miami, in Celsius, it was plus 30. So 60-degree temperature change for us, and it was amazing. So that was awesome. Such a good trip, and good food, warm weather. I actually got some sun. I got a nice burn on my chest, which was amazing. And I say it's amazing because it's now turned into a tan. So yeah, that's basically the nuts and bolts of what's going on here. I'm going to give you guys some shakedown here first. There we go. 32 is 0, yes. No, minus 32 is like minus 12 Fahrenheit. Something like that. Anyways. Floyd, you finally get to catch a live. Klaus is here. Thank you, Klaus. I appreciate that. Brady, how are you? I'm just going to look through the comments here and say hi to everybody. Got Kyle, John, RC Flyer, 2001. Loopy from North Dakota. Joe's here, moderating the chat. David, howdy David. Klaus is here. Pelagic Marauder from Texas. Howdy. That thing is beautiful. Thank you. Are you talking about the Moki? Or are you talking about Chad? There we go. So minus 32 degrees Celsius is minus 25.6 Fahrenheit. Brady's here. Yeah. Maybe wait and build 2 Picaritos at the same time. That's a good call. I think that's a good idea, actually.
Must be David.
Yeah. Because David's got a Picarito coming. Very nice scheme. Very, very nice scheme. Awesome. I'm all caught up. So, yeah, Moki. Here's the Moki. Beautiful. The prop was off. I just put the prop on just because it looks cooler with the prop on. So the Moki was actually sitting over there with the Corsair. So this is the stand, the test stand that Kelly put together to test run it. And that's what we brought it home on. So it is awesome. Looking forward to this thing. Now, one of the comments Chad made is we need to get a new prop for this thing. Well, we don't. The Corsairs, the older Corsairs had a 3-blade prop. Some of the new Corsairs, the newer generation ones, had the 4-blade prop. So if you look at the CARF website, they've got the new version of the Corsair that they came out with. So it's slightly modified, but it's pretty much the same thing. And that one, because it's a newer, the navy scheme with the green, that one has a 4-blade prop. So, but yeah, so let's take a look at the Corsair here. So I got the Corsair home, went to Miami, and when we got back, we did some organizing, put the wing on, dropped the gear down, and there she is. So Kelly did a lot of work on this, a lot of the fiddly work on this thing, and I'm very thankful for that. So when we get into the build series on this, I don't know when we're going to do it, but when we get into the build series, we'll cover this stuff. But the gears installed, the doors here with the scale leather pieces done, so super cool there. The Moki mounting's all finished. The baffle and the cowl's all done, so very thankful for those things. And also the biggest hurdle that I have to accomplish is finishing up the sliding canopy. So yes, the cockpit would make you hate your life, Klaus said. So Kelly did a lot of the painting and the initial stuff on the cockpit. And in our chat we were having, we had a messenger chat going on. It was funny and humorous watching him struggle with that thing because it's not easy. There's no instructions. But we will make the canopy will be operational. Obviously, this piece stays forward. But yeah, so that's all going to be operational. Joe said you get better performance with the 3-blade on the 250. Excellent. Yeah, so really nothing's changed in the F100 from the video this morning, if you watch the video. So we're kind of all caught up on the F100. The tail's on, the wiring's done from the back end. Yeah, nothing really beyond that is done on the fuselage. And howdy Stacy, what I've been working on now is these wings. What a challenge the wings have been. So part of the issue with the wings is you've got bigger servos now that are fitting everywhere. You've got older mounting styles. it's definitely making me rack my brain. So this is the left wing. This is what the next video will be on. And we got our aileron servos done. Leading edge flap or slat number 1 is done. Just finished up the leading edge slat number 2, and we are pretty much ready to put the gear back in. So, and yeah, pretty cool. So I'll show you guys what we finished off here with these servos. So these are the servos that came out of the aircraft. So they're like old JR 3301s. They're actually a plastic shaft. And this is what was mounted in there. This is the servo that was designated for this setup. And obviously our servos are very different now that we put in here. So I needed to sand those mounts wider. We needed to come up with a different mounting system. And this is actually another tip. This is a tip time in the video that came from Kelly using high sol. So we actually used high sol to hold the front of the servo on both of these leading edge servos. And then there's a dollop on the aileron servo on the front end as well. And if you ever need to get that high sol off, you just take a hot soldering iron and it just comes apart. And then I went one step above and beyond and made a stainless strap for it and screwed that in. So it's rock solid now. But those are the wings. Yeah, huge struggle with those things. It's interesting for sure. So once this is done, I think this is my biggest hurdle that we have to accomplish. I think everything else is going to be easy. Should I say that? Probably not.
Jinxed yourself.
I know. So yeah. And then with the other wing, we still have to get the other wing done. On the wing that you saw on the table, this top piece here, fairing, whatever it's called, was snapped off. So I actually had to take all the flight metal off the other one and get it glued back in place. And then on the other one, we've got to redo the flight metal on that and paint the inside and stuff. So, but yeah, the wings are definitely a struggle. So before Tucson, we've got to get the F100 done. In my BDX, we are going to be installing the Sky Candy landing light setup. We're going to add some Unilight marker lights, pitot tube in the nose, smoke system. So I want to get all that done before Tucson. And I think the planes we're bringing to Tucson are the BDX regular, BDXS, Rebel Hot, and Atom. Those are the 4 I'm going to bring, and that should keep me busy. We've got obviously 2 maidens. That's not really a maiden on the Voodoo. It's just a first time flying it in Canada.
I think you should take Stacy's A10 too.
No, that needs some love. The love hasn't been done yet, so. Awesome, so that is basically the update. I'll put you guys over here. Maybe we'll get Chad in the picture. Chad doesn't like being on camera.
No.
So that's okay. Yeah, so that is the updates on everything. I don't think there's anything beyond that. What else? I feel like there's other stuff, but I can't remember.
Any new projects?
Yeah, sort of. Well, we've got the Corsair is a new one. We've added another Skymaster A10 to the mix. So that has been ordered now. It's another Black Snake one. You don't know about that one. So it's another Black Snake one that is on order. So it's going to be set up exactly like the one that's sitting over there, basically. And so that's already in the works and ordered. And my Picaro 2.0 is coming here next week. David's got a wicked Picarito coming as well too. So those are in the queue as well.
Should have just ordered 2 of the snakes.
I can always order another one. Oops. Just looking through the comments here. So Floyd said, when is the F-15 XXL build starting? It'll be probably when the F-100's done. So it should be in the next couple weeks. Su-30, yes, Su-30's coming. Is that written on the board? Yeah, it's written on the board. I got to write down the A10. I think I left room for it up here. A10 Snake. And that is for Chris. Chris is in Arizona. Yeah, SU30's on there. SU30 should be here fairly soon, maybe?
Actually, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Jets over Montana. David said it was still going.
Yes.
But if you go to the website, it says no. It's
Correct.
canceled.
Yes. So, Jets over Montana. What's the plan for Jets over Montana? Well, Jets over Montana is canceled, but the plan, yes, we do have a Carf F100 coming. I'll show you guys the board here in a second. The plan for Montana Jets is to join the club, and everybody just goes to the field and goes flying on a certain week.
Okay.
That's pretty much the plan.
All right.
So,
Because there's other people that were wanting to go.
yeah, so if you want to come to Jets over Montana, well, it's canceled, but I encourage you to join the club, which is Glacier RC, and during the week that Montana Jets was scheduled, show up and fly.
And fly for Kelly.
Yeah, so that's the plan. And club members are allowed guests too. So if you're a club member, so let's say I sign up and you want to come, club members can have guests. So, use that to your advantage. That's our plan to go down there. So the event is still not happening, but it's happening, sort of. I don't know how to say that other than that. So,
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah, because Bob White was asking about it.
Nice. So yeah, that's the plan with Montana. So we just need to figure out the numbers for people that are members and people that are guests. There's our board. I think everything is updated. So we've got the T-33, the Apache Heli, which needs to be done, BVM F100, which we're working on now, A10 maintenance, Spitfire, F-15 XXL. These are in no specific order. Corsair. So a lot of these guys will actually be done here in the next month and a bit. Carf XXL F4, that's going to be later in spring. SU30 should be here soon. Carf F100 should be here soon. Rebel Classic should be here soon. Carf Corsair is here. F86 will probably be here in a couple months. Picarito, and an A10 Snake. And then we have EA Picarito, actually a Picarito, wink wink, for David. And then we also have a Rebel Classic number 2. Jeepers.
List is long.
It does, it gets long. That's exciting, really exciting. That's wicked. Yeah, thank you for the list. Just throwing that out there to the universe. Thank you for the list. Let's see here. So David said we will make those who want to come members. We'll do that at the Tucson event. So yeah, when we go to Tucson in 3 weeks, we're going to be organizing all the stuff for our group.
Okay.
For Jets over Montana. So, and then Klaus said for anybody who is interested, we will update the website accordingly. Perfect. Thank you, Klaus. Yes, private event. That's the way to say it. Private event, right? Meticulous Al, John, for your 1 battery Bluetooth setup, is the central box to BEC to step down voltage? No. Good question. I'll show you that. Damien from Queensland, Australia. Awesome. David keeps the lights on. Yes, you are correct. Mr. Sufer does keep the lights on. I'm over in the warehouse of the shop, grabbing some stuff to answer your questions about the one battery setup. So again, I'm going to rearrange you a little bit, guys. Sorry about the earthquake. All right, so one battery setup. In the one battery setup, we don't use a central box. That's the important thing. The central box, really, the benefit to the central box is the redundancy, having two batteries go in, high power type setups, pretty much anything 2 meters and under, we just do a single battery setup. Or if it needs nose weight, like my BDXS, there's two batteries in there, only because it needs nose weight. Something like the Rebel Classic, so this is all based on what the turbine uses. So in my Atom, for example, it's got a Swiwin engine. The Swiwin engine uses a 3-cell LiPo setup. Oh, this isn't the right package.
Well, that's a speed controller.
That's a speed controller. Where's my... Bear with me.
Too many products to choose from, eh?
Huh?
Too many products to choose from.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, I had a BEC. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So the turbine designates the setup. So let me take that a step back. So in my, what was I talking about? My Atom? So the Atom uses a Swiwin turbine, which is, all Swiwins are a 3-cell LiPo. And because of that, in the Atom, we have an S-Spec in the Atom. So the S-Spec has all of the radio stuff going through it. So there's the S-Spec. Yeah, there's the S-Spec. Might be backwards. This has all the radio power going through it. So the battery lead goes right to the turbine. The same battery lead also comes to the S-Spec. After the S-Spec, it goes into a Rex 12 receiver, and that pairs up with a Cortex. Also, the battery after the S-Spec goes into the gear system. So after the S-Spec supplies gear and receiver setup power. So this is necessary if you're using a turbine that uses a 3-cell LiPo to power it. The other benefit with the S-Spec is you get full telemetry with this, but you also have an EXT expander right there. So this lead plugs into your EXT port on your receiver, but then you have two ports here. So you can plug your turbine telemetry into here and your pitot tube, which is what we have on the Atom. So this is what we're using on the Atom. The Picaritos that are coming, because they're using Chicoy 160s, those are also a 3-cell LiPo on the 160 Chicoy. On anything below that, so the 132 that's in my Rebel, that uses a single battery setup, but it's only a 2-cell LiPo. So that 2-cell LiPo, that goes right into the turbine and goes to a power switch, which then goes into the Rex 12. So hopefully that explains or answers your question. Yeah, the nice thing about the S-Spec setup is, you know, you're powering it with 3-cell LiPo, so you're always getting your designated power that you've outputted on this thing. So in our case, like the Atom, I've got this set to 8.4 volts. So your servos are getting 8.4 volts all the time. On my Rebel Classic, you know, you're starting off at 8.4, 8.2 volts. After the first run or flight, you'll be 8 to 8.2, but on that one we only do 2 flights and then recharge. That's the norm. So,
and those also have a switch on them as well, right?
These
S-Spec
don't.
10 did.
Yeah, the S10 switch. What are we using those in? Not the Atom.
The Atom.
But how are we stepping that down?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I don't remember. Yeah, we're using the SPEC 30, I think, right?
No, the 10.
Weird. Oh,
SP10.
yeah, the reason for the Atom is there's 2 batteries in there.
Yes.
That's why. One for the turbine, one for the radio.
And the nice thing about
Yes.
that is you can put the gear
Yeah,
on the one side.
Exactly.
Like I'm using the
so
gear that came with it.
yeah,
and I
sorry.
can shut it off.
I was talking about the Atom. The Atom uses the RCPS10, which is just a designated switch. So that, yeah, the Atom's not a 1 battery setup, it's a 2 battery setup. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, but that gives you an explanation of how we do the single battery setup. And yes, you'll get flack no matter what you do. And no matter who you tell, it's going to be, they have a hard time comprehending that, so. Sheldon, your crew coming to Jets Over the Rockies in Denver, May 29th to 31st. I'm thinking about it. We'll see how things pan out in May.
I got a pretty busy May.
Wild Bill, where is the event in Tucson? It's at Timpa Field. So I'll be there on the Monday, the 14, 15, 16, 17. I'll be there on the 17th, Monday. RC Flyer closes Jets Over Montana, the Magic City Fly-In in Billings? No, it's in Kalispell at Glacier RC Field. Can the SPEC be used with a Spectrum receiver? Yes, but you're not going to get telemetry. That's the downside with using it not with Jetty. And that's one of the benefits of using this particular SPEC is the ability to have it all jive with your Jetty system. So if you're using it with Spectrum, I would just get maybe a different BEC setup. There's lots of different options out there. So Edgardo said, John, about the giveaway, is it feasible for you to mention the code in the other channels and do the raffle live in this channel? That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Thank you for that. That's actually a really good idea.
And Joe just thanked me
For?
about the giveaways
Oh.
that I won.
Yeah, so Chad is here tonight to pick up his giveaway of the 3D printed parts. So, cool. So I think we're all caught up on.
It does matter how many times you enter.
Yeah, it does. Chad made about 17 comments. Floyd, can I ask for your help on the PC3C project I'm slowly working on? You can shoot me an email, and happy to help you out with that. Often, if you shoot me an email, I might take up to a week to reply, so don't be surprised if you don't hear from me right away. Depends on how my week is going and on how busy I am. So, yeah, so that is, now I feel like we're caught up. Do you guys have any other questions? Ask away. Now is the time. I'm gonna put these things away. Oh, and last live, I think I was showing you guys the BDX lighting setup, and I called it a Unilight lighting setup. So Sal, if you're here, I'm sorry, I don't think you're here, but it's not a Unilight. Well, we are putting some Unilights on there, but the primary lighting system that's going on the BDX is Sky Candy, not Unilight. So we'll just correct that, make sure I do that.
They're going to be bright.
Yes, 2 Rebel Classics coming. Yes, I made those notes on the board. So we got a few. Yeah, we're looking forward to having some lights on my planes again. So not that it matters the number, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 projects.
That's a couple.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
We might have to put lights on the Atoms.
We'll see.
I seen it on the big FTL one. It looks nice.
I think as long as they survive the year,
True.
then next year I'll put some lights on there. I'm not going to make any, I don't think I'm going to make any changes on the Atom until it survives the year. That's my goal. I'm really hoping that we get fuel bags approved soon. So that would be a change for next year that I would want to do, is put a bag in that.
The guys are working on it.
Yeah.
Changing the wording.
Yeah. Take the fuel tank away, save some weight by putting a bag in there, and then counterbalance that with some lights.
And maybe another battery.
Yeah, we're bang on zero again. Kyle, did you install the pitot tube on the BDX yet? No, I haven't done anything with the BDX yet, but I will show you guys, and specifically Kyle, because he has a BDX that we built on the channel, and he wants to know about putting a pitot tube in there. So it's going to be possible. It's going to take a little bit of fiddling, but we'll get it done. Thomas from Germany, wow, all the way across the world. Thank you for coming and joining in. Edgardo, you mentioned that you probably will be in Texas in a March event. Can you give us a hint where it is going to be? So not March. I'm going to be at Tucson Jets in March, which is at the Timpa Field. The Texas event that I am pretty sure, 95% sure I'm going to, is the beginning of October. And that is Turbines and Tumbleweeds event. So it'll be their second event this year. Just kind of sorting out some final details, but that's the beginning of October that I'm thinking about going to that one. Another long drive, which is one of my holdbacks.
Texas is a long ways.
Well, it's the same as Tucson, basically. It's just a little bit this way instead of that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jerry, thank you for watching the RC Air experience. That was fun. Yeah, if you guys aren't familiar, we've got a podcast channel, the RC Air Experience. Me and my friend Anthony do it, and it's tons of fun. I do it just because I enjoy it, and it's really cool to meet people, meet different people, and have different chats with people in the industry or not in the industry or hobbyists or whatever. I think 2 podcasts ago we had Bert Garrison on, and which was awesome. He was the last SR-71 pilot. We had the last one we just did this past week was with the Wives of RC. So my wife was on there, Anthony's wife was on there, Adam had his wife on there as well too. It was tons of fun, and it's always interesting to have the ladies on and get them chatting. Martin Pickering's been on as well too, which is fun. So, and then tons of guests. It's been great. And I think we're 29 or something on the RC Air Experience. We've done 29 podcasts, basically. So Afterburner said, does Jetty DS24-2, sorry, your comment disappeared, have more resistance on the sliders or ratcheting? It seems to always be moving on the first gen. One thing I've noticed with mine is my wheel, my rotating wheel on my old one. It's never been really solid, but it's the new one has a lot more resistance here. The sliders on the side, I don't know. It's a good question. Let's pull it out and see.
I wish the new 24s would come in quicker.
So yes, more resistance on the side sliders. Yeah, for sure. Quite a bit more. And the midpoint it's quite a bit more solid on the midpoint. So yes, definitely more there. And then the slider here or the dial also has a little bit heavier indents on it. So yeah, that stuff definitely is a little bit different, a little bit more refined, maybe is the best way to say it.
Or this one's just really well used.
Yeah,
with all the planes that you've been.
You know what? That's actually a really good point too. So, but my dial, I don't remember it's never really been solid. It's always been like easy to move. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to show you guys. The Picaro stuff. Not that it's really anything crazy, but David said you can add some softer Velcro on the slider arm to add resistance. So that's a good idea. Never thought about that. Good call, David, Mr. Jetty Master. So we've got some stuff from Elite Aerosports. Obviously the gear for the aircraft. They sent me this fitting. I'm assuming it's for one of the tanks. That would make sense. The UAT, they sent that as well too. So that's the UAT we'll be using in there. Wiring harness. Now, Scott and Pablo, I appreciate the wiring harness. I think I'm going to end up using this wiring harness. It's just heavy.
It is
right?
Fairly substantial wire too, though.
It's all like the heavy-duty silicone wire. So it's, it's thick wire, right? So...
yeah, it's...
I'm still thinking about it.
That's like 3 pounds.
Yeah, it's heavy. So, yeah.
They're very nice.
They are. And they come set up with like expander cables if you want to run lights and things like that. So, so the weight of it, 652 grams. So it's less than 1.5 pounds. Because 1 pound is 454.
I guess.
So 1.45 pounds.
It seems heavier.
It does. Maybe because it's all bundled up and I've never taken all the wiring out of a plane and actually done this, right? So, yeah. So anyways, I got the wiring harness. I think I'm going to use that just because they sent it and I appreciate it. And it'd be cool to
try it out.
To try it out. And also the amp connectors, I've never really used them. My BDX-S has them. And then the landing gear for the Picaro, of course, it's just standard Electron stuff. But so that's the parts for the Picaro, which we have in stock. Oh, that's what I was forgetting about. Awesome. Yeah, big heavy duty connectors. The amp connectors Chad's looking at. Awesome. So we're all caught up on comments. Yeah, so the amp connectors that come on these this harness, I've never actually wired them up yet, but a lot of guys use the amp connectors.
Yeah, and you can't plug them in backwards.
No, they only go together one way.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So this is what my BDX-S has because it was put together by Danny at AeroPanda, but because these are the connectors that he uses. Whew. Yeah.
And they screw to the fuselage. So
yes. Yeah, and if you guys aren't familiar with the amp connectors, when they're in the fuselage, that's what they look like right there. I guess you could also put them external as well too, but anyways, that's how that one's installed. We have new tires for the BDX-S. I don't know if I'll put those on before Tucson, but they're there. Klaus said Montana Jet's website has been updated under event section as private fly-in. Perfect. Thank you, Klaus, for doing that. Appreciate that. That is awesome. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Good stuff. Well, guys, there's 68 of you here right now, and there's only 18 people that have given a thumbs up. So everybody that's on right now, push the thumbs up button, please. And ask some questions, because I'm not going to get back into that wing right now. And if you have any other questions, I am happy to answer them. We're going to stay on for another 20-ish minutes, sort of thing. And yeah. We got a lot of Revit bags coming as well too. I just was thinking about that. So we've got the Glacial bag set. We've got the F15 bag set. We've got the F100 bag set. I've got my Picaro full bag set. And then a bunch of you guys have put orders in through me, which is great. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Yeah.
I just can't wait another week or two and we'll be flying if this weather keeps up.
Oh yeah, it's today was like plus 10 degrees Celsius, which is 50 Fahrenheit. We were in this deep freeze for like 2 weeks, and it just went crazy warm. And we're supposed to be like this for 2 weeks now, like plus 8 to plus 10 Celsius during the day, which is amazing. In the past 2 days, a ton of the snow around my property has already melted, which is wonderful. All my grass on the dead grass on the south side of my house is all brown now. It's all exposed. So it's very nice. Awesome. Oh yeah. Joe, when will you be adding the new goodies to the website? Well, that's a good question, because they've been sitting over there and I've been talking about this for like months. We've got a lot of things, a few things to add to the website. So we've got our high flow fittings for tanks to add. We've got our whole MAP, Model Aviation Products UAT lineup to add. And some other things. I have a list. Anyways, this week, I'm going to do it this week.
Okay.
Hold me to that, Joe, I promise. I promise. I'm going to do it this week. The website gets done by me, so that's why.
Gonna have to let Joe take over.
If I'm busy, it just takes a while. So, good question, Joe. No landing fees will be collected. So yes, if you're coming to Montana event, you'll need membership or guest status. But as Klaus said, everyone is welcome. Let's see here. Good question. What's your preferred mounting technique for retracts? I'm working on an AD Scorpion that had about 8 different screws holding them in. Screws or bolts, blind nuts. I fly off grass usually. Good question. I'll get to that in a second. Ray's RC stuff said, can the light controller interfere with the turbine ECU? Good question. David will do a mass membership setup during the Tucson event. Joe, shoot me a message. I got the UAT for you. No problem. Let's see. Arnold, did you get my email regarding the speed brake using the IDS? I did. Unfortunately, it requires so much throw that that system won't work. I am familiar with that system though. We did use that on one of our gliders previously. Oh, Montana Jets the field got an 800-foot approval. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I better not get too far ahead on the comments here because I've already forgotten what you guys were asking.
Gear mounts.
Oh yes, gear mounts, thank you. And there was one other one. Okay, what's your preferred mounting? Light controller. So gear mounts, I like using wood screws. Yeah, I think even on my BDX, I think I used wood screws. Pretty sure I did. Yeah, because I don't use blind nuts on landing gear. The Atom, I used, the front gear already had the blind nuts installed.
Yeah. So
we use blind nuts on the Atom, but otherwise it's just wood screws that are appropriately sized. You know, when you look at the Electron retracts, as the gears become bigger, the holes open up. So on like the Electron ER30s that I installed on the Rebel Hot, I think I used number 4 wood screws on the Rebel Hot. On the ER40s, I used number 6 or number 8 wood screws. And on something like the BDX, the big planes that use ER50s, I'm usually using number 8s or number 10s wood screws, one of those guys. So yeah, I prefer wood screws. Drill my hole, soak it in CA, put some CA on the screw, screw it down, and it works great. If you ever have a stupid landing and your gear rips out, then you just have to worry about dealing with replacing that the wood. And you don't even need to replace it. You just tape off one side, fill it with high sol, as long as the plate's still intact. Fill it with high sol, make sure it's flush, and re-drill them. So it's pretty
Or
easy
switch
stuff.
to blind nuts.
No, blind nuts suck.
I know.
Blind nuts, well, the problem with blind nuts is it destroys stuff, right?
Yes.
So instead of your gear ripping out and maybe putting a dent in your wing, now you've torn your entire gear mount out and you have a massive repair. Usually. It's not always the same, of course, but. The next question was, can the lighting controller interfere with the ECU? Obviously, anything's possible. In my Bull, the lighting setup interfered with the V-Speak module, which had all of the throttle control through the V-Speak. So it was kind of a special scenario. Generally, you want to try and separate those things, right? So if you have, if you're using a Unilite lighting controller as an example, I'm just coming over here to grab the controller, maybe. Oh, here it is. So here's our lighting controller for the F100. So this is how everything's being controlled in the F100. This thing I will take and kind of tuck it off to the side, leaving at least 3 inches between anything else. So we wouldn't want to put a receiver next to this if possible. Yeah, just try and space that stuff out. I've learned that through my mistakes to try and keep those things separated. When I add the lighting system to the BDX, I will take the lighting system modules and everything we're doing and I'll kind of put them out of the way. But the reason on the Bull in the past, which was like 2 years ago now, I think. Yeah, 2 years ago. That was just a weird situation. I wasn't paying attention to electromagnetic fields, and we had our lighting bundle all bundled up, and that was sitting right beside a V-Speak module, and that's why it happened. So unfortunately, it happened, and it was a learning experience. It was an expensive learning experience, but that's okay. No problem, man. Yeah, so that's those 2 questions. Let's see, I've got some other ones here. So yeah, Arnold, about your IDS thing, yes, it just doesn't allow enough movement because we need, I think, 3.5 inches of movement on that air brake. John said, are you going to test start that Moki? Can't wait for the Corsair videos. No, I'm not filming it yet. Plane just got here. We just tucked it away, and we've got a bunch of other projects to get in the queue. Right now, I'm in my thinking process. So I'm thinking about the scheme, how we're going to lay things out, just doing all my mental planning that I do is what's happening right now. So, did the F100 come with slats? Are you adding them? So the old BVM kit that we're working on now, that had slats already installed. The CARF one that we've got coming, it's actually going to be a way more simple plane. There's no slats on that one, so that'll be an easier setup. I'll be a guest. I'm 4.5 hours south. Perfect. Joe, I'm surprised Chad was able to make it over knowing how cold it is. It's warm out.
Yeah.
It's warm now.
It was 11 degrees today.
Yeah, it's very warm today. I was actually outside in a t-shirt for a couple hours over a span today, so it was nice.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, not happening.
Yeah, 800 feet, that's awesome. Very nice. Edgardo, will you accept if some will like to build one of your airplanes? I'm kind of jealous. No building in the shop allowed. So Jake said you have a laser cutter in-house. Yes, I actually have 2 laser cutters. One is an Algo laser, and the other one is a Creality Falcon laser. They're pretty much like, I don't know, they're the same. I don't really use them a ton. So, but yeah, those are the 2 I have. I've been using the Algo laser just, I think, because it has a screen. But yeah, they're very much the same. Yeah, and they do work really nice for cutting light ply. That's what I use it for basically the most. So, Skymaster F16 flaperons. Don't understand your question.
It's because they don't have flaps.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't have flaps.
He
The ailerons.
wants to use the ailerons as
Yeah,
flaps.
yeah. That's so on the Skymaster we put together. That one had leading edge. I think. Yeah.
Yes,
Coco's.
I believe so.
Yeah, that one had leading edge slats, and then it also had ailerons which droop down for. Are those called flaperons?
Yes.
Yeah, flaperons. I'm not that smart. You guys think I'm smart, but I'm not.
Even on my little F16,
Yeah.
I use them as flaperons, and it doesn't slow down.
All right, so Tord, good question. So Ray said, are you going to Jet Power 2025? That's the plan. Planning on being there. So Tord said, do you ever get overwhelmed with your whole operation of releasing videos and having to build a bunch of planes with a deadline? Yes. Yeah, I don't. It used to bother me more, I think, but now that I've kind of streamlined things with experience, it's definitely a lot easier now. You know, when I first started, it was pretty sporadic. I remember like the first aircraft we did a build, well, the first aircraft we started the channel with was the Carf L39 for Stacy. And that one, it was just like doing some stuff and filming some stuff, and that was kind of it. And you know, you film for like half an hour and then you kind of put that into a video, and it was just kind of very, very sporadic. I feel like now when I do a project, I already have the plan in place of kind of how things are going to be. The ones that stress me out or cause me a little bit of anxiety, but it's really not that bad. If that sounds bad, it's really not that bad. But the ones that kind of bother me a little bit are things like the F100, where there's so much different things going on. It's hard to put things into a video format that makes sense. So as an example, the video that came out today, when I recorded that video, I thought I was going to be working on wings. I didn't get to wings at all. It was all fuselage stuff. So the next video is going to be all about wings. So that one's a little bit challenging because it's not a full just putting things together from a new build. So when you're taking things apart and having to do things and things pop up, that's what adds the chaos a little bit. You know, when I do a sports jet build, for example, start at the back, work my way forward. The wings are one episode. It's just very straightforward and simple. You know, you do things like this. Well, this in the next video, this is going to take up probably 25% of the video, just tearing this thing apart, you know, sanding it down, pulling the flight metal off, redoing it, showing this. So it's just those weird little details that add a little bit more stress. So hopefully that answers your question. But overall, it doesn't bother me so much. Like that list of 17 planes.
Knock it out in a month.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get done. Some have deadlines because we're bringing them to events to deliver them. Like the F100, it needs to be done for Tucson, right? So I've got 3 weeks to finish it, 20 days actually, but I know I'll be done before 20 days. If one of David's Rebel Classics was to show up and that was to be ready for Tucson, you know, we'll get it done in 3-4 days. So you just kind of deal with it. And that's why if I need to get work done, I just work longer hours.
Well, and your day job helps a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure. Sheldon, the air seemed fine on the F100 speed brake. Why would you want a servo operated? Just to simplify it a little bit. Sorry, I kind of ran through that question really fast. So Sheldon said, if the air brake was working fine on air, why change it? Yeah, and that's a good valid question, especially if you're staying with air everywhere else on the plane. It's nice to be able to eliminate those things if possible, but it wasn't an easy switch, so it just made sense to keep it as air. Also, these BVM kits, like the air cylinders are amazing. The gear on the BVM stuff is amazing, even though it's 20 years old. It's still amazing quality stuff. So I don't suspect there's going to be any leaks, knock on wood. And as we're going through this, we're servicing all the cylinders and servicing everything. So it's going to be a rock solid scenario. The other thing we'll do on this too is the air brake, the wheel brakes, the canopy, opening and closing and locking, all gets air powered or all gets pressurized on the gear down line, right? So none of that stuff is going to have pressure until the gear is in the down position. So air brake won't be able to operate until it's in the down position. Now, the air brake we may need to keep pressurized because the air is actually what holds it up. Yeah, I think we need to keep the air brake pressurized, but the gear and canopy will only be pressurized once the gear is in the down position. And all you do is tee off the gear down line to provide pressure to those solenoids. So it adds a little bit more fail-safe. So Tito from New York City, wow. DK62, do you set up twins to start independent or together? Together, there's no reason to set them up to start separately. If you want to start them off separately, either unplug a battery, unplug the turbine cable. In my opinion, there's no reason to start them separately and just add more complexity. There's no reason to have two separate trims when your turbines run together anyways. So you'll be adding more complexity. It's not like trimming a gas plane with a prop on it, right? Where, the engines are completely running differently and you want to be able to trim those things out differently. That's a different scenario. So what is the flight metal made of? It's made of metal, really thin metal. I liken it to this, basically. Like, this is actual duct tape or foil tape that you use to put on heat ducts. This is pretty much what the flight metal is like. It's just really thin, sticky aluminum tape. So when we do our repair, this is what I use to do the repair. And I think the video number 2, when we did the repair on the horizontal stab, this is the material that I use to do that repair. So then you just scuff it up and add details to it. But it's very fragile, right? Even on that plane, you do that to the plane and you've got marks on the plane. So that's why you see foam underneath the wing. Anytime I'm actually washing my hands a ridiculous amount because you don't want the oils from your hands to get on the flight metal. So like if I was to go work on the plane right now, I'd go inside, wash my hands or use rubbing alcohol. And it's a bit of a pain, but it's all part of doing a plane with flight metal. Edgardo, are you going to keep using the voiceover technique? I think it's better and give us more details. I'm going to incorporate it, but it's not going to be a regular thing. For the recording end of things, it's actually very difficult. And the reason it's difficult is because it takes a lot more time to get the camera set up and make sure I'm capturing all those details. And then in the editing end of things, it takes way more time. So that one Rebel Hot video that I did where it was the whole build was in one video, it took me close to almost 7 hours to do the editing on that video because you basically uploaded 3 hours of video footage. You sit there for 3 hours-ish and you slice all those video things down and you go over it again quickly. and then you go over that entire video and you have to voice over it all. So I had to write out a script and kind of jot things down. So it was a ton of work, and that stresses me out. So, so I'll be doing it in small segments, but it's not going to be a regular thing. Let's see here. Hello from North Carolina Flyer. Glacier RC Flyer, found it. How many turbine models have you built over your career? No.
100 or
more. 1 year. So when I first met Kelly, would have been 5 years ago.
During COVID. That
year, that calendar year, from, that calendar year-ish, whatever that period was, I put 25 planes together. So, I don't know, 25 times 7 years, 8 years, something like that. I don't really keep track because it's just a lot. Yes. So, hi Nez. Nez is coming out for the party. So I don't know the actual number. If I was to guess, I don't know, 100, 150, somewhere in that range, probably. Oh yeah, the airflow would keep the air brake up. That's a good idea. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to give some thought on that air brake, Sheldon. I appreciate that.
Thought she was going to claw me there.
DK62, any reason you don't use, whoa, comments are going crazy. Any reason you don't use Jetty lithium ion batteries? Prefer LiPo. That's it. So I think there's more choice. What are you doing, buddy? I think there's more choice with LiPos, but yeah. I just use LiPos, that's what I've used. I've never used the Jetty lithium ion batteries, so it's no more simple or complex than that. I don't use auto start on my Chicoy turbine, should I? What are the pros and cons? Good question. My models, I think right now all of them have the restart turned on. You have to be aware if you ever have an issue. The pro obviously is it saves your airplane sometimes. So if you're flying up and you've got and your engine quits and it goes to restart mode, as long as it's going to get fuel, it will restart. So that's the positive. I've seen it save many planes. And the downside to it though, and this is a good one that we witnessed last year. So last year, Russell's usually here. Russell was doing his Rebel Classic maiden at our field, and he was up doing his flight and he had a flame out. So he came around, I was standing beside him, told him to drop his landing gear, and as he was coming in for a landing, his engine started restarting. I reached over and trimmed his airplane down for him. So you have to be aware of those things, because if you're coming in for a landing and your engine's restarting, or you crash and your engine's restarting, that could be a bad thing. So, if you're in a scenario like that, you do have to be mindful that you might need to trim your airplane down, which is a reason to have your trim set up as a 2-button switch or something that's easy to access. So I always do it 2 buttons, so 2 buttons down, 2 buttons up, and that's it. Hi, buddy. But good question. Jake said, what's popular now to recommend to a new turbine pilot? What airframes are folks recommending now? There's so many choices out now. There's a lot of great planes. If you want to see what I recommend, that's it right there. So Rebels are awesome. I haven't flown it yet, but the Atom is awesome. From what I've seen, it flies insanely well. The BDX is nuts. It's like flying in cheat mode. So those are some great recommendations, but there's a lot of great planes out there.
Just about everything that Boomerang makes.
Yeah, that's it. Everything Boomerang makes is outstanding. The Ranger's awesome. Any of their twin booms are hands down such a good plane to start with.
I love my Elan.
Yeah, like my Super Elan is no longer with us. It's gone, but like sold to somebody. But I would really love to put another Super Elan in the fleet again because it's just such a fun airplane to fly. It's massive. Dude, what are you doing? And it's just a ton of fun to fly, and it's like so not stress.
Like and you just do everything.
Yeah, you throw the thing around. Really well. Yeah, it's just amazing. So, yeah, the Boomerang lineup is outstanding. The Rebels are awesome. The BDX lineup is great. I mean, there are so many good options right now. You really can't go wrong with many of them at all. So.
And most of the planes they've got dialed in now, they don't have bad tendencies.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. RC Flyer, I have some tape like that, but it doesn't have the backing and APs, call it speed tape. Yeah, this is 3M duct tape. So if you go to Home Depot, you can find this stuff.
Or if you do commercial construction.
Yeah.
The guys that do the ducts, they have rolls of those.
Exactly, and they usually don't mind if they give you one. So.
Yeah, they actually use it for the insulation.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Brett has the same Gen F100. Thank you for watching. Jake said, I've heard that the BDX is basically a rocket, and if you want something that flies slow, to avoid it. No, the BDX is not a rocket. It's such a big airframe that it really won't get going crazy fast. So like the BDX S that I have here, it had a 160 in it, and it was fine. It wasn't crazy fast. But if you, like my Picaro that's coming, that's getting a 160, that's going to be way faster. It's more pointy, more sleek, smaller wings. The BDX is like flying in cheat mode. It's amazing to fly, especially the big one. The little one's also great too, but the big one is the best flying airplane I've ever flown, and one of the easiest flying airplanes. Edgardo, about your Jetty, how long it took for you to be proficient with it programming? I learned pretty quick because I had so many planes to set up on it. So when I got my first Jetty, I basically took some time and kind of did things the way I thought was the right way to do it, and then slowly learned through David on how to actually do things better. So we kind of just took it in baby steps, but it was probably, I mean, I'm still learning, but it was probably within maybe 6 months, so I was fairly proficient in most things, so.
It's been a struggle.
Yes. Yeah, there's so many different ways to do things. That's the thing about it, so.
I just need the Aero Panda to get my radio in.
Pelagic Marauder, would you consider undertaking a Herscher H400 R2 build project? No idea what that is. So Chad's gonna look up on his phone. Email me if you want, we can discuss it. Turbine Flying, Race RC Stuff said, Turbine Flying seems to have increased and is very healthy in the UK. I think thus it is partly due to channels like yours. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, I appreciate that. I've definitely noticed that in the past 5 years of doing this, that there's been a lot more new turbine flyers coming on board, and I love it. I think it's amazing. Also, the increased availability of good entry-level planes is definitely helpful for that. So it's nice to see more people involved in the hobby. Good night, Kyle, thank you.
Tomahawk Aviation.
Oh, that's cool. Interesting, eh?
Yeah.
That's a pretty wild looking plane. Yeah, definitely, that's pretty cool. That's a cool looking aircraft for sure. All right, guys, well, it's been an hour and 10 minutes, so we're gonna wrap things up. Nez is driving me bonkers. Buddy, you're getting me hairy all over the place.
I know, I'm allergic.
Jeepers. Yeah, Chad's allergic, so. Philip, you're very late to the party. The party is just ending, unless you stay on board and keep it going. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for tuning into the live. And we'll do one more live 2 weeks from today, which is, I don't know the date of it, but that would be March 8th, I think. Anyways, 2 Saturdays from now, we'll be doing our live, and that's the last live before we go to Tucson. And then we'll be in Tucson for the Saturday that the live is scheduled. So we'll probably do a live on the regular channel in the morning on the Saturday. We'll see how things go. The signal's not exactly awesome out there. She's looking at her tail up in the TV.
Yep.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. Yes, fur all over my face. That's awesome. I got to show you guys. There's a TV up there that she's staring at right now. So, oh, now she's going to see herself in the TV. Anyways. Cool. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace out. Have fun. And keep the wheels down and the wings level. Thank you.